So how do we get to how much water needs to be dedicated? And unfortunately, it's more of an art than a science. There's a lot of factors that go into that. And to kind of go off of what Kelly was saying, you start off with maybe a condo or a townhome, and that product, maybe you're only going to need about 0.18 acre feet. Now, an acre foot is an acre of land covered 1 foot in water, so about 425,000 gallons. So that multifamily user is going to use about 80,000 gallons or so a year. And that's almost all inside water use because there's really no outside irrigation. Now, you might end up on a 5,000 square foot lot, as Kelly was saying, but now you've got some land to irrigate, and maybe that single family house isn't that much bigger than that townhome, but now you've doubled the water usage because you're irrigating that outside area. And then if you get a more, typical old style subdivision, you're now looking at 3/4 of an acre foot for that large lot. And so the real big variable in a lot of this water dedication stuff and trying to figure out what the demand is really based on outside irrigation. I'm involved in a small project in Firestone, and that project was zoned for a certain type of usage. It was really large lots, anywhere from 9,000 to 18,000 square feet. It's been platted, and the new plat has more houses, but they're all averaging around 5,000 square foot per lot. And the water usage for the subdivision went down about 20%. So the outside irrigation component makes a big difference. As a trend in Colorado, the historical water usage per capita has actually been going down. If you look in 1985, water usage was about 250 gallons per capita per day. And that's dropped about 100 gallons per capita per day over the last 20 or 30 years. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Some is just economics. It used to be that there were communities that didn't have water meters. They do now. And so when you use water, you get charged for it. We've got water rate systems that encourage water saving. The more water you use, the more water costs per unit. So if you've got a gigantic yard and you're irrigating the heck out of it in the summertime, you get a giant water bill. But there's also been changes in technology with plumbing fixtures, sprinklers, and I think a general water awareness. I think a lot of the communities here in Colorado have done a really good job of encouraging and educating their public about water usage. We are in an arid state. We've got to, kind of keep track of our water usage. And then we also have had a few droughts. And so if you look at the water usage in 2000, we had a big drought in 2002. And a lot of communities went on watering restrictions. Watering restrictions generally drop water usage 20 to 35%. But then there's sort of a hangover from that you can see that after that drought, you've got new technology, new behavior, and that also results in continued lower water use per capita, going into time. So again, uh, the trend is less water usage, but also water keeps getting more expensive. And then in terms of risk comfort, you can also look at some communities, have a lot of developed water, more than they need at the present time. Others have less of a surplus. And so, and some communities have virtually no surplus. And so there's a lot of variability between communities in terms of water supply. One of the things I really like working with Westwater about is they always have really great data. They've got a lot of really smart people that are good at putting together information, and so we were talking about how different the water dedication policies were between various municipalities, and I sort of kind of knew some of this stuff, but until they put this table together, I didn't realize how different it was. But they reviewed 25 different municipalities for what their water dedication was for a single family home on a 5,000 square foot lot. And as you can see, the results are all over the place. They're anywhere from 0.3 to 0.7 acre feet per house. Now, there's some reasons for that. Um, some legitimate, some possibly less so, but one is that every water system operates a little bit differently. So, a share of a specific ditch company going into municipality A, who has a lot of reservoir storage or a big groundwater storage project, they probably have a more robust system based on that right than somebody who doesn't have storage. So it might be that the second municipality has to collect a lot more water rights in order to get through a dry year, which is always when things are stressed. And so they may look at things a little bit differently. There's also risk associated with accepting water, especially if it hasn't been through water court already. So uh, perhaps there's a little bit of a discount to cover that risk in case you get bad news out of water court. And then there's also sort of a scenario of the past. Perhaps water planning wasn't as good as it should have been in the past. Maybe there were insufficient water collected from other developers in the past. So there is a trend sometimes to try and collect a little extra water to make up for the past. So there's a variety of reasons why these are different. I wish they were all the same. It would make my job a lot easier.